The year was 1985, and it was summer, the kind of summer that felt endless. Not just long, but infinite. The sun didn't rise and set so much as hover, pressing down on everything, warming concrete, softening time itself. Days blurred together into one long stretch of laughter, scraped knees, and sticky fingers. You went to bed tired and woke up excited, certain that something good would happen before the day was over. Music drifted through open windows. Wham, Madonna, Duran Duran, tinny and distant, carried on warm air that smelled of cut grass and hot tarmac. Somewhere nearby, a radio played too loud. Somewhere else, a TV hummed behind net curtains that never quite moved. My mum and dad lived in a block of high-rise flats, the kind that felt enormous when you were small. As a kid, I was convinced it was at least 30 stories high, something towering and unmovable, scraping the clouds. In reality, it was 12 floors. We lived on the 5th. My nan lived on the 8th. Those flats were our entire world. The stairwells echoed with footsteps and laughter. The lifts smelled faintly of metal and old perfume. Outside, kids played freely. Footballs bounced against walls. Bikes were dumped wherever they stopped rolling. Chalk drawings faded slowly in the sun. Half-exploded water balloons lay blowing in the slight breeze. Back then, there was no fear stitched into childhood. No warnings shouted every 5 minutes. No constant checking. You went out, and you came back when your name was called from a window. The 80s trusted kids to be kids. My mum and dad had split up by then. My mum moved away, and my dad had moved in with my nan to save money for a bungalow. It wasn't talked about much, it just was. And weekends became something special. Weekends were dad time. Every time we arrived, I did the same thing. Before my bag was even fully down, I'd open cupboards like I was on a mission. Yes, hot dog buns. My nan's hot dog nights were legendary among us grandkids. Soft buns, proper sausages, onions sizzling away. If the buns were there, it meant one thing: company. And this weekend, they were. I felt it in my chest, that fizzing excitement you only get as a child, when the day still holds unlimited possibility. It was around 1 o'clock on Saturday when the doorbell rang. I ran to answer it, heart already racing. And there she stood, my Auntie Elaine. Warm smile, gentle voice, the kind of adult who always seemed pleased to see you. Beside her were my cousins, Carl and Paul. Paul was older, which meant he lived in a permanent state of mild disinterest. Sometimes he played with us. Mostly, he wandered off. Carl was my partner in crime, my ally in imagination. Elaine smiled and said to my nan, "I'll be back about 9. Just like that. The day was ours. Not long after, Carl leaned in close, eyes shining, and said quietly, "I've got something special." He reached into a bag and pulled out a grey, shiny box. It said Atari 2600. I stared at it, frozen. It didn't look like a toy. It looked important, alien, serious. "What's that?" I asked. "You'll see." At the time, I had no idea the Atari had already changed the world, that it had brought gaming out of arcades and into living rooms, that games now lived on cartridges, solid things you could hold, swap, stack, and argue over. Carl lifted the console out carefully. It had sharp edges, chunky switches, something vaguely futuristic about it. He placed it gently on the carpet in front of the TV, the big wooden one with dials that clicked and a screen that curved ever so slightly outward. He started plugging wires into places I'd never seen wires go before, but there was a rule. We weren't allowed to play until my nan had her nap. So we waited. We sat on the floor, pretending not to stare at it every few seconds. The smell of hot dogs filled the flat, onions frying, buns warming, that unmistakable smell that meant happiness was close. The TV played quietly in the background, adverts for Action Man, Transformers, toys we already owned and toys we desperately wanted. We ate quickly, politely, every bite filled with hope that my Nan would feel sleepy. And then she did. She shuffled to her chair behind us and sat down. It didn't take long. Her head dipped, her breathing slowed. This was the moment. Action stations. Carl moved quickly but carefully, plugging everything in, flicking switches. He handed me a controller, a square block with a stick in the middle and one red button. It felt heavy, solid, important. The TV flickered, and then the screen came alive. Colors burst into motion, shapes moved, sound filled the room. It was like the future had quietly arrived while we weren't looking. We played wrestling first, whispering, laughing, mimicking the Saturday afternoon world of sport. Wrestling my Nan and I always watched together. We shouted under our breath, pointing at the screen like it could hear us. Then Space Invaders, rows of aliens creeping closer, the beeping speeding up, my heart racing faster with every step they took. Then Pac-Man chomping endlessly through mazes. Something so simple and so perfect it felt impossible. And then Pitfall, swinging over crocodiles, jumping vines, feeling like an explorer trapped inside a television. We had to stay quiet. The longer my Nan slept, the longer the magic lasted. My Nan had a habit, a gentle one, where she'd fall asleep and her false teeth would slip out and rest on her chest. She'd wake up, put them back in, glance at us smiling, and pretend to fall asleep again. Sometimes she would look at us through one eye joyfully. Sometimes she accidentally fell asleep again for real. We never questioned it. 6 o'clock was the hard stop. Football pools time, Liverpool 1, Everton 1. Newcastle 2, Middlesbrough 0. Half an hour of results, dreams and quiet tension. You could check teletext, a pre-internet television service for sending text and simple graphics, like news, weather, sports scores to TVs, but my Nan preferred it live. She won, occasionally. My dad won more. That afternoon changed something in me. It was my introduction to gaming. 40 years later, I'm still hooked. But it was different then. No downloads, no updates, no DLC, no patches. You put the cartridge in, and that was it. The whole game, complete and ready. If it didn't work, you blew the dust out and tried again. That was enough. Carl and I repeated that ritual for years, through cartoons and VHS tapes, through shelves of Lego, He-Man figures, and Matchbox cars, through summers that felt just as endless as the first. Until one day, it stopped. My Nan passed away, and the center of the family shifted. My dad was never quite the same again. But she lived long enough to see him buy a bungalow and move in with him. No stairs, no worries. She was proud. So happy. Even now, when I fire up an Atari, I swear she's smiling somewhere. Sometimes, and this might sound silly, I can almost smell hot dogs. That's the legacy she left. And I carry it on today with my daughter. We sit together, eat hot dogs, controllers in hand, laughing quietly, watching the screen. And every now and then, I glance over my shoulder, half expecting to see my Nan in her chair, false teeth in her lap, pretending not to be awake, just checking we're having a good time. It's strange, isn't it? How we never realize we're living inside the moments we'll one day miss the most. Back then, we weren't trying to make memories. We weren't chasing nostalgia. We were just living, laughing, waiting, playing, believing tomorrow would feel the same as today. But time has a quiet way of moving on. People change, places disappear, voices we loved fade into memory, and yet, some things stay. They live in the sound of a startup screen, in the smell of food that takes us straight back, in the glow of a TV late at night, in the feeling that once upon a time the world felt safe enough to wander. Those moments didn't vanish. They became part of us, and maybe that's why they still hurt a little to remember, because they mattered, because they still do. So if this story made you smile, or made your chest tighten just a little, That's okay. It means you were there too. And somewhere in all of that remembering, those days are still alive, quietly waiting for us to find them again.
You have no power over me.
All those moments will be lost in time, like